Florida's economy just got ranked #1 in the country again, 3rd year in a row. And I gotta admit, this feels pretty good. I love watching all the Florida haters out there crying because of this one, like this guy. But I know what you're thinking, but the news says Florida's falling apart and everybody's leaving. That's because they hate seeing our governor, Uncle Ronnie D, doing great things. Shame on them. In this video, I'm gonna show you why people and businesses are still flooding in despite what you're hearing on TV. Why the pandemic and one huge decision back in 2020 was the best thing that could have happened to Florida. And I'll share the one stat that made me go, wait, that's real? And I'm also gonna pick on this guy a little bit. Let's jump in. Now, this all started because every year CNBC drops its top states for businesses report. They score each state across 130 different metrics from infrastructure and education to cost of living and economic resilience. This year, Florida scored 363 out of 445 points. Now that's an official A+ economy, beating every other state for the 3rd straight year. They praised Florida for job growth, financial strength, and dominance in new business formations. Florida's GDP, which is the total value of everything the state makes and sells, hit $1.34 trillion in 2024. That's huge. It means Florida's economy is about the size of entire countries like Mexico or Australia. The state also had 1.4% job growth, meaning more people got hired, and the job market kept getting stronger. Florida earned a AAA credit rating from Moody's, which is like the gold medal of credit scores. It means the state manages its money really well, pays its bills, and isn't drowning in debt. It also traded $185 billion in goods with other countries. That's 13.8% of its total economy. And only a small part of that trade involved China, which is a good thing, CNBC says, in case there's global problems like tariffs or supply chain issues. Put it all together, and it means Florida isn't just growing, it's in great shape to handle a recession if things go south. Strong jobs, strong finances, and smart trade strategy. Shouldn't this be the kind of thing the news talks about every single day? You'd think other states would want to copy Florida's playbook and fix their own messes, but no, that wouldn't fit the Florida's a disaster narrative, would it? And one of the biggest drivers behind all this, people are moving in. Nearly 1,000 people move to Florida every single day, and every one of those people adds fuel to the fire. They buy homes, start businesses, hire contractors, go out to dinner. That constant demand is like rocket fuel for the economy. And it's not just retirees anymore. It's young families, remote workers, business owners, people with money and ambition, all betting on Florida. And here's a fun fact. Did you know the average age in my city, St. Petersburg, Florida, is 43 years old? I didn't. All I knew about St. Pete before I moved here was the movie Cocoon was filmed here.
I feel tremendous. I'm ready to take on the world. Ow! Ow!
It's actually a pretty good movie, but there's still some Florida haters out there, and now I get to talk about them. This video makes me happy, can you tell? During a Fox News debate in November of 2023, California Governor Gavin Newsom took a shot at Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and said this: "You mean the last 2 years, more Floridians going to California than California's coming to Florida? That's gonna be fun to fact check." All right, let's do just that. From 2020 to 2024, Florida gained about 1.93 million people through net migration. California lost over 530,000. Just in 2023 alone, the year he made this comment, California lost around 197,000, while Florida gained about 64,000. And from California to Florida specifically, Florida gained over 22,000 more people than it lost. So no, people aren't fleeing Florida. They're leaving places like California because they're sick of the policies that coddle criminals and punish law-abiding citizens. You won't see that kind of BS here in Florida, and that's why people want to live here. And don't forget about tourism. It's still one of Florida's biggest economic weapons. Theme parks, cruise ports, beaches, Airbnbs, they're packed. People are flying in, driving down, and booking like crazy. The demand has not slowed down one bit. And it's not just for the weather. Florida's got the top spots people actually want to visit. TripAdvisor ranked the NASA Kennedy Space Center as the #1 tourist attraction in the country. That's awesome, but it doesn't stop there. The Stetson Mansion in DeLand landed at number 5. and John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park in Key Largo came in at number 6. And let's be honest, Florida's economy didn't take off by accident. It happened because our governor made a choice and took a stance that nobody else would. Back in June 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, Governor DeSantis made a move that lit the media on fire. While the Biden administration and other states were shutting down and taking away people's freedoms, DeSantis said, "We're not shutting down. We're gonna go forward." Then he doubled down. Later that month, he told reporters that Florida wasn't going back to more restrictions, no matter what. By September, he made it official. Bars, restaurants, gyms, and theme parks are back open for business. That decision changed everything. Business owners, remote workers, families tired of being told what to do, they all saw Florida as a place where they could live free and keep living their lives. And a whole lot of them packed up and moved here because of it. And on top of that, Florida's whole approach to business is hands-off. Lower taxes, fewer regulations, and no surprise mandates. It's the opposite of states like California, where businesses are drowning in red tape. Remember the Pacific Palisades fire in California back in January?
This is crazy. There's a fire right outside our car.
That thing destroyed over 6,800 homes, and it burned an area about 3/4 the size of Boston, covering over 36 square miles. And you'd think by now rebuilding would be well underway, right? But as of mid-2025, only around 145 permits have been approved in the entire city of LA and surrounding county areas. In unincorporated LA County, they received over 1,200 applications, but only 90 permits have been issued. That's a 7.5% approval rate. And in Pacific Palisades specifically, the city's only managed to issue 54 permits for 40 properties. That's it. People are stuck waiting, not because they don't want to rebuild, but because the system is dragging its feet. Slow permitting, endless inspections, insurance drama, zoning nightmares, it's a mess. And that's the kind of red tape you're not going to see here in Florida. Now let's talk about the money, baby, because this is what matters to all of us. How much you get to actually keep. Florida doesn't tax your income at all. Nada. That one detail puts thousands of extra dollars back in your pocket every year. Take someone making $100,000 a year. In California, they'd lose about $9,300 just to state income tax. In New York, it'd be around $6,300. In Florida, nothing. That's enough to cover your car payment, a few months of rent, or a pretty badass vacation every year. That's a massive savings for people like teachers, nurses, tradespeople, retirees, anyone trying to make their paycheck go further. And it gets even better. There's a massive push right now to eliminate property taxes for people who live in their homes full time. And from the looks of it, this could actually happen. If it does, total game changer. More of that in a minute. For entrepreneurs and business owners, this no income tax setup is huge. More money in your pocket means more money to reinvest. That's why so many self-employed people are ditching high tax states and setting up shop in Florida. Companies love it too. It makes hiring easier, keeps costs down, and they're not getting crushed by crazy state taxes. Plus, their employees take home more money, which makes everybody happier. Throw in sunshine, fewer regulations, and a booming economy, and yeah, Florida's a pretty easy sell. And here's the stat that made me go, wait, that's real? In 2024 alone, Florida had over 266,000 new business applications. That's not just good, that's number one in the country for total new applications. And when you look at it per person, Florida ranked 3rd in the whole country. That's wild. But it gets even crazier. Since 2019, over 3 million new businesses have launched here. Most states can't even dream of numbers like that. People aren't just moving to Florida, they're building stuff. And no, we're not talking about some dude starting a business in a spare bedroom and selling Dukes of Hazzard lunchboxes on eBay. These are contractors, restaurants, e-commerce shops, and local services that actually hire people, pay taxes, and grow the economy. And here's one of the biggest reasons I think people love living and doing business in Florida. We don't coddle criminals. We pass laws that actually protect regular people. Imagine that. You can protest all you want here, that's your right. But if you show up in a mask trying to smash cars, scare families, or loot businesses, nah, that ain't happening here. This isn't California, this ain't Minnesota. We have anti-masking laws in Florida that don't let you hide behind a mask to commit crimes. And if you're a business owner, you don't have to worry about the state looking the other way while your store gets trashed in a riot. Florida is not about that chaos. We got your back, plain and simple. And here's a big one. If a mob blocks a road and traps you in your car, Florida law says you have the right to protect yourself. If you're in danger and need to drive through, That's on them, not on you. And you know what? People here get it. That's why you don't see roads getting blocked in Florida protests. Now, California is the exact opposite. While Florida's out here protecting citizens, California is busy passing laws that make life easier for criminals. In California, they changed the law so that stealing anything under $950 is just a misdemeanor. And if you get caught, you don't go to jail, you just get a ticket. That's it. So now in places like LA and San Francisco, stores have to lock up everything because people walk in and treat it like their own personal pantry. This store, they even had to lock up the candy. That's what happens when you let lawlessness slide. What you don't discourage, you encourage. And let's be clear, you're not going to see that kind of nonsense in Florida. This is how it should be. No burned out cities, no excuses for criminals, just clear rules that keep citizens safe and hold the bad guys accountable. That's part of what makes Florida work and keeps people coming here. But we're not just chilling in the sunshine, polishing our trophies. We're actually thinking long term, training the next wave of workers to keep the economy growing. It starts with real world skills. Florida's been quietly putting money into trade schools, community college, and workforce programs that teach people how to actually do stuff. And it goes even further. Florida just passed a law that lets inmates earn credit for the trade classes they take in prison. There's 37 trades offered through 92 career and technical courses. We're talking barbering, cosmetology, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, landscaping, all real hands-on jobs people actually need. So when they get out, they're already licensed and can go to work making real money. And honestly, I think this is a brilliant idea. It gives people the skills they need when they get out to go make a living and provide for their families. They get an actual shot at a new life, which means less crime and fewer people getting locked up again. This saves the state money, and you get more people working these highly in-demand jobs. And Florida's also leading the country in higher education. It's ranked #1 in public colleges, and it has the lowest in-state tuition anywhere in the country. Just look at the University of Florida. In-state tuition there is about $6,381 a year compared to the national average of $11,610. That's a savings of over $5,200 just for choosing to stay in Florida. And it's not just about saving money. DeSantis has also been clearing out the racist DEI nonsense from Florida universities. No more pushing political agendas in the classroom. Schools are supposed to teach, not divide. And with universal school of choice, parents aren't stuck sending their kids to the closest school just because of the zip code they live in. They get to choose what actually works for their family. This is how you build a future-ready economy. Not just more jobs, but the right kind of jobs. And Florida's making sure the next generation is ready to work them. And this is the part that blows people's minds. Florida doesn't even have a state income tax, and we still run a tighter budget than most places. Florida has way fewer government workers than other states, lowest debt per person, second lowest spending, and we're not wasting money on useless programs. Get this, Florida's state debt is about $660 per person. That's insanely low compared to the federal debt, which is over $100,000 for every U.S. citizen. Yeah, not even close. And the state's got money in the bank. We got a rainy day fund with $4.9 billion, plus another $10.8 billion in backup reserves. That's $15.7 billion saved up for emergencies, just sitting there ready. The new budget for 2025 is $115 billion, and they actually cut spending from last year. While other states are raising taxes and patching holes, Florida's paying off debt and still giving money back. Since DeSantis took over, we've paid down $7.3 billion in debt, and there's a rule in place to keep paying off at least $250 million a year. And here's the big one. DeSantis is pushing to eliminate property taxes for full-time homeowners. If that goes through, Florida home demand will explode. People will be lining up to move here. This is why people and businesses trust Florida. No chaos, no budget panic, just smart money moves that keep this state economy winning awards year after year. Want to see another amazing thing Florida's doing? Click here to learn how Florida's property taxes are done after this move. This could wipe out property taxes for good in the state of Florida, and it would flip the housing market upside down. But what's the catch? And who's trying to stop it? Click here to find out.